Okay, we are working like crazy in my backyard on my deck, and I understand, Chad, thank you for coming here, that this is June, Garage Door Safety Month. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I've never heard of Garage Door Safety Month, and this is something I need to know. Why would they pick June? And tell me about the garage door safety reasons.
Reasons? Well, June, because in a typical year, that's when kids get out of school. And that's when, in the industry, we've seen an uprise in incidents and accidents around the garage doors. Kids are playing, kids are running underneath the door all day long.
Now, I've heard some terrible things, mainly years ago, that a garage door was able to come down and kill a little child, and an adult for that matter. Mm-hmm. Something happened recently, is that correct?
Every year, thousands of people get hurt by garage doors. People do die from garage doors. A couple of years ago in Oakville, someone had decorative handles on a garage door, pressed open, it picked up the hoodie on the kid's shirt and pinned him in the header for about an hour. He didn't die, but he was severely injured.
Now, I thought there were sensors on all garage doors that if there's any friction or too much friction, it automatically stops or goes the other way.
Correct. There are sensors, but they have to be installed and tested properly.
So this is not really a DIY thing, is it?
It's not. There are maintenance checks and suggestions that I would have people do, but in terms of actual installations or repairs, it's a very complicated system when you look at it.
Okay, now I have a problem with my garage, and I'm going to explain it in a second. What do you do when you come in to do a safety check on someone's garage door?
So as a professional, there's a number of steps that we will do. And as a homeowner, there's very few steps that you can do quickly, once or twice a year to check it. As a professional, we will lube and adjust all of your moving parts, check your torsion assembly, check your safety sensors. Having an eye for what can go wrong leads you to check the right things as a professional.
A friend of mine, his wife, one of my contractors, his wife thought she could increase the tension on the door herself. And you know that big thing at the top that looks like it's actually the tension roll. She would put the 2 bars in herself, push it up, put in the second bar, pull this one out, push it up. All by herself she did this. Carlito should have done it himself. What happened is when she pushed up like this, she slipped on the next one and wasn't holding this one good enough. It came down and smashed all her teeth out. It was a terrible accident, absolutely terrible. Pay attention to that. Always have a professional increase your tension or reduce it. Don't do things that we don't know.
Do not mess with the spring. When you're telling me that story, I start to cringe because I know where it's going, and it's a lot of force on that spring.
So when it comes to things you don't know, please make sure you bring in a professional like Chad. He cares about you. He's going to make sure everything works well. My garage. The issues that I'm having is that all 4 garage doors seems to be going crazy. I wake up in the morning, or I'd hear it at night. I'm lying in my bed and I'd hear the garage door open. I'm like, why'd the garage door open?
That's not right.
And then I'm seeing flashing lights on my remote controls. But I'm thinking this has solar panels. Is there a possibility that I'm getting too much power from the sun and it's screwing up my garage door openers?
Hypothetically, yes, but realistically, no. These products have built-in surge protectors, and they will allow a fluctuation of power. From what you've described with the lights flashing on your controls, I think I know what the problem is. There was a very small window of wall buttons that were manufactured, and the supercapacitor actually had a little bit of a miscalculation when they were manufacturing them, and it led to that exact problem. It was only a window of about 6 months.
You're saying it could be my openers?
I have a feeling that's what it is. I'm not sure, but...
Well, what I did was I just disconnected them and I pulled the handle and I opened the door.
You can't have that. You got to have your doors open. Come on.
I agree. So all right, thank you. Help me make it right.
We will.
Okay, so this is June, Garage Door Safety Month. It's not just about checking your furnace and your air conditioner, especially on a hot day like today. Let's make sure it's safe for you and the kids when it comes to this door opening and closing. We don't want anyone getting hurt, and I don't like what I'm hearing. That's just too much accidents happening. That's not necessary.
The worst one, if I can go real quickly here, the worst one in my experience as a professional was being called by a forensics investigator about 10 or 11 years ago, where there was an incident that a newborn child, maybe 3 or 4 months old, was still in the carriage, and the homeowner was having some work done on the driveway, okay? A few weeks prior to that, the homeowner's garage door opener stopped working, so he went to the department store and bought the heaviest, dutiest biggest 1 horsepower opener he could find. Installed it himself on the garage door.
The homeowner.
The homeowner did. Door was going up and down, no problem. I'm good. So 2 weeks later, the contractor comes to do the driveway, and he's going to show the homeowner how the door sits level compared to the driveway. He pulls
The handle.
handle
The
to
disconnect.
put the door into disconnect.
And the baby carriage is under the
It's
door?
underneath the door, and that door falls like a guillotine.
Oh my God.
I had to recreate this incident with a forensics investigator with a carriage, and we calculated the force that hit. It was thousands of pounds of force.
It killed the baby.
It killed the baby. The kicker of it all was that the force on the opener was turned all the way up, and as soon as I was on site, I took a look up, and the spring was broken. The opener was strong enough to lift the door with a broken spring, so there was no counterbalance at all on the door. And because the force was so strong, and that baby should not have died, and the contractor should never have pulled the red handle, because as you know, red, you pay attention first, but so there's a series of things that went wrong that caused this to happen, and it hurts me very much to talk about.
I totally understand that, and I think the worst part, and people, we need to think about this, is don't have the baby carriage under the door, ever. And it's something that I can see a homeowner doing, puts the baby up, taking a look, not really thinking that anything can go wrong. Okay, so you're going to be looking at the openers, you're going to be looking at the possible greasing the wheels so that the door is good, and you're going to look at the motor itself to make sure there's no extra tension on it, that it's safe for everyone.
That's right.
Okay.
We'll do a series of tests, and we'll make sure it's safe.
I did not know that June was Garage Door Safety Month. We learn something new every day.
So another common question we get asked is, why is water coming in the bottom of my garage door? And there could be many reasons for that. It could be due to your concrete sloping the wrong way. Doors facing west typically get more rain and wind, or it could be that your bottom seal is broken or shortened. On Mike's doors here, we can see that the seal on the bottom goes all the way through and is tucked in on the end, which is a good installation tip. Don't cut it short because it will shrink. Cut it long, fold it back in itself, so when it tries to shrink, it pulls on itself and you'll get many more years out of it. Also check that the side seals go all the way down to the concrete, just like Mike's do, and they're not short. So when this door closes, I know I've got the best seal I can get between the floor and the wall. We shut the power off on the garage door. You always want to do that before you do any service in case someone doesn't know what you're doing, and they press the remote and close the door in your head while you're working on it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to lubricate the tracks, and we're going to do it in where the rollers run on the back and the front, mostly through the radius. Most homeowners will end up spraying the rollers, thinking that the noise is coming from the rollers. If you have a white nylon roller such as this, most likely you're not getting any noise from that roller. The noise comes when it goes through the track and when the panels turn. So we're just going to adjust the nozzle to the right to medium, and we're going to give a little spray on the inside of where the roller is going to travel. And we're not going to coat it. You don't need to go overboard with the lube. Just give it a little bit of a coating, and then take your cloth and you're going to wipe it down so that it doesn't clump. So more than lubricating, you're actually cleaning the track. You're getting any debris that may have gathered in there, any dust, any sort of particles, you're going to get them out of the track. And just nicely, this is something that homeowners can do, no problem. Again, make sure your door is disconnected so no one closes on you. And once that's done, you're going to press the button and make sure everything runs nice and smooth. Quiet. Mike gave me a call and said he had a couple concerns with his garage doors, and as a good homeowner, he just wanted to do a yearly maintenance and check to make sure everything's running safely and properly. These are just a few tools that a garage door service technician should have on his truck. I mean, there's many more, but you're gonna have the proper lubricant that you're gonna use for your garage doors. Not grease, not WD-40. You want a garage door lubricant. There's a reason you want it. Vice grips are garage door installers' best friends. These are specially treated tension bars. They're not rebar. They're not something you can go buy at a store.
They are a very special tool for adjusting the torsion spring. We've got our wrenches. Typically you've got a 3/8. This would be what the set screws are. You've got 9/16. You'll have a 1/2 inch, which I don't have here, but it's in my box. Maybe some rollers. We use nylon rollers for residential doors because they're quiet, they're strong. So if any of his rollers are worn out, we've got new rollers. Here we have screws with red heads on top. You'll notice that. There's a reason that things are painted red generally. On a garage door, if it has red on it, don't touch it unless you're a professional. Okay, if your door is installed properly, these will be on all the load points. You might need a level, torpedo level. This is a smaller one to check that shaft is level because Mike's opener is attached directly to that shaft. If it's not level, there's going to be a problem. You never know when you need a knife. That's just a general fun tool to have. These are new cables, so if his door has got water or something coming in the bottom, this loop is where the load point will be, and sometimes they'll rust out. So if there's any signs of rust, we're going to change the cables. Measuring tape, just again, another tool that everyone should have. Drill, you never know if you're going to change bottom brackets or a hinge, then you're going to need a drill. And gloves. Now gloves are just for general cleanliness, keeping your hands safe, but not when you're adjusting the spring. Keep your gloves off. And that's about it.
Simple and easy check that a homeowner can do is to test the sensors on the garage door opener. Take a simple block like this. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy, but what you're going to do is place it down in front of the photo eye path. You're going to press the button on the wall and make sure that your door doesn't close and you hear it click. That click means something has blocked the photo eyes. The next test is you're going to take the same block and you're going to place it on the ground, and ideally I should press close and the garage door should hit the block and reverse back to the full open position without causing any damage. So let's give it a test. So when the garage door opens and it's been instructed, you should hear this. Click, click, click. That tells us that something obstructed the door. So those are two very easy safety checks that you can do as a homeowner. And if one of those doesn't work for whatever reason, call us at Canadian Door Doctor. We'll come fix it.